what's going on,
guys? Episode 9 tonight. We talk about range theatrics, how it can and possibly be detrimental to a real life situation. Stay tuned. We got a whole bunch tonight on WARFIGHTER Wednesday.
We're live.
Okay. What's going on, guys? Okay, so we just worked through some audio stuff right there. We were on we had a whole bunch of reverb coming through. We got to take care of.
I'm Bobby
James. Got Instructor Z with me, and we got Kawa
there in the corner.
We're talking about range theatrics, right? So there's a whole lot of things that go into training, right? Obviously, everyone's trying to look sexy on the gram, right? Doing all the swoopy stuff, and some of that stuff doesn't apply necessarily to real life situations. Yeah. Hey, if you guys are watching this, let us know if you are getting an echo back. Chad, make sure it's muted on the other computer.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Gray in here.
Does Kawa? We got Kawa?
I'm here. I can hear you guys.
Awesome.
You might want to turn that down because that's using the mic from the camera.
Yeah.
Doug, what's going on? How are you?
Doug, my man, the Alaskan assassin.
What is all that feedback coming from, Chad?
I don't know.
I think echo's going.
Hey guys, if you guys are listening real quick, just let us know if you guys are getting an echo.
Doug, what's going on? How are you?
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah, we should be good now.
Nice.
All right, cool. So range theatrics, right? Doing all the swoopy stuff on the Instagram. Got a lot of stuff. I do it personally. Tactical Edge. We do a lot of that stuff with Brandel. Brandel does really good cinematic stuff. And we talk about range theatrics where guys, for example, right? Guys will come out, they'll draw, they'll real quick, they'll engage a target, and right away they'll snatch that gun back and they'll start their scan and assess, right? And in a real life application, you wouldn't do that, right? So if your drill calls for 1 round, you're going to get 2 sight pictures, right? If your drill calls for 3 shots, you're going to get 4 sight pictures. You should absolutely be doing that. You should be so quick to come off that gun just to make it look cool, right? And we start to see a lot of that on social media with guys, doing drills and stuff like that. So in a real life situation, you don't know if you're going to have to engage that threat.
Right.
So, what do you see, as far as that goes? Like, why do you think a lot of guys are doing that now instead of training the drill to the standard?
Well, with the influx of social media in the gun industry, man, everybody's out there trying to make video. I mean, anybody from Tom to Harry that's got 2 viewers to 200,000 viewers, they're replicating what they see other guys doing. So they're doing drills and they're showing people. Even me, when I first got on Instagram, I was like, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. I started doing it. I didn't really know any difference. I was like, well, that's kind of stupid. I didn't really like it. I don't like having to sit up. I don't like erring on the side of entertainment versus practical information, if that makes sense. So if you err on the side of entertainment, you'll start developing bad habits to some degree. Start going off a script
Okay.
And that's fine if I got a certain amount of information or a certain type of information or a certain point I'm trying to make to you. Yeah, I want it right. I want to make sure it's clear and concise. So I'll do different takes. But when it comes to shooting, guys are just running a drill over and over and over again until they look real good doing it, because they don't want to look bad on social media. It's just like anything, the old Facebook. You know, all these families look super happy on Facebook, but we know people are people. All families aren't. It's not a fairy tale world.
Correct.
So same thing with shooters, right? Or anybody in the tactics world or whatever your thing is on Instagram. They're trying to get the best take, so they do it over and over, which can develop bad habits. Because what looks sexy and what looks good and what resonates with people optically right, in the entertainment world is not necessarily what is most important. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So shooting fast, running around, doing different things, transitioning from target to target, that looks great. Drawing real fast, on a draw and shoot real quick, that looks great. It really looks great, and that's a good skill to have. But there's too much saturation in that one area. So I think people starting to lean towards, hey, since it's out there so much and the industry is saturated with it, that must be the most important thing. No, that's the thing that gets the most likes and views, most likely. But that don't mean it's the most important. It's like John Wick. John Wick is an awesome, entertaining movie, but that doesn't mean that's a critical task that you need to be good at, or even that it's really practical or feasible for you to do some of the things that he does, right? In a movie, entertainment. So we got to be careful of that stuff. That's what I see, and it's not me hating, and I want to make sure people are straight. And I think Cal will agree. Of course, I'm competitive, and I don't want to be the shithead that's not good at stuff. But I'm also a grown-ass man, so I think with it, I try to be objective and say, hey, I'm not mad at people for being better than me, even though they don't have my same background. I don't really care about that. I just, I want the proper message to come across, and I want people to use their common sense and think critically. So people that shoot better than me, that's not a soldier or a law enforcement officer, I think that's great. As a matter of fact, that's what I want. I want capable citizens. I want a network of the average Joe that can have capabilities. That's what I'm trying to do out here. That's my mission, basically. So when that comes into play, there's a thin line there that can be crossed, like hate. I'm hating on you because I'm jealous, or I just really objectively think that stuff is over glorified and it doesn't really help the average guy out, except for to make entertaining videos. So
correct.
If does all that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What do you think, Kawa?
Well, I think that what's happening is you have an overlap of two industries. You have the shooting industry where we want to shoot guns and we want to train, and then because of social media, we're diving into like the movie making industry, right? Because we want to make it look good. We understand where we are creating a project where we're making a video. In essence, we are making a movie for social media. And when you get into the movie making portion aspect of training, it can get very cinematic. And when it comes to being cinematic, we want it to look good. And so because we want it to look good, we tend to forget that, we're not focused on training anymore, but now we're focused on making a nice little movie, a 60-second movie or however long movie you're trying to make. And that's what you're trying to do. So people are getting caught up too much in the aspect of making movies and not focusing on the actual training part. And so what happens is when you have a social media platform that is strictly focuses on video, like Instagram, for example, then people want to make their best content that they can make. And what starts to happen is now, rather than focusing on their training, being okay with showing mistakes, being okay with fumbling reloads, fumbling purchases, missing, they're now like, well, I don't want to show that because I'm posting this. I am posting this on my page and I want to look my best, and that's okay because all of us do it. We all want our videos to look the best. for whatever reason, whether you're a business or you're just a figure or whatever. But we have to understand that, especially for the people that this is influencing the most are the people that don't have a lot of experience in shooting, that are new to the industry. This isn't affecting people like Z and myself. I'm not going to look at somebody doing some kind of range theatric and let that influence me and adopt it. And then, you know what I mean? All I'm doing is perpetuating the whole movie making aspect of it. But for people that don't know a lot about shooting or are new to the scene, new to the industry, this is affecting them and influencing them very heavily, where they think this is the way it needs to be done, right? And the other aspect of it is the people that are making their videos look very cinematic and all these range theatrics, they may not understand how long it took for these guys to get that good at being that fast or being that fluid. You know, some guys, especially the more popular ones, they can go on the range any day they want and they have that luxury. Whereas the average shooter can probably get to the range maybe once a month, twice a month if they're lucky, you know, because they're working 9-to-5 jobs. So when they go to the range that once or twice a month, what are they going to do? Are they really going to work on fundamentals? Yeah, maybe. But what are they going to walk away with? They're going to walk away with a badass video that was influenced by range theatrics that they saw on their favorite followers. And so when you see things like, for example, what you said, Bobby, was, you know, I present that gun, take my shot, and I snatch that pistol back, and I never get that next sight picture. Or the other thing is, I'll finish a course of fire, I'll quickly snatch that pistol back, I'll drop my mag, take a look at my mag, put my mag back in. I mean, I don't understand what that is. Or closing my ejection port cover every time I'm done with the course of fire, you know, or just being fast. You know, you are influencing 90% of the shooting community out there, but you're also misleading them because you're misleading them with the products that you're putting out, which means you're not really teaching fundamentals. You're not really teaching anything. Then all you're really teaching is look at me and look how good I am and look how fast I can go. And then the other point I had was, shoot, I just drew a blank. But so I think what happens is that when people, especially these influencers with the big numbers for followers, when they just focus on good videos, they don't understand how much they're influencing these young shooters. And then these young shooters try to replicate that in their own videos, and before you know it, they don't even know why they're doing that. They don't know why they're snatching that gun back. They don't know why they're dropping that mag, taking a look at it and putting it back in. They don't know why they're doing it other than it just looks cool on camera, right? So I think that's kind of like where this was birthed between the two industries. This whole range theatrics is that, yes, I want to shoot, but also I have to put like good video or my best video of the day on my IG page, and it's kind of sad. But that, I think that's the bottom line.
Yep, and we talked about that yesterday, right? We were talking about, I was over at Carl's. We did the live stream with Tactical Rifleman, and we were talking about that last night, me, Carl, and Chad. And, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that will tell you, like, hey, listen, this is how you want to draw. You want to, you know, bring your free hand up, right, to where your hand would naturally meet each other, get a good marriage on that gun, start that presentation, push out, right, get that full presentation, take that shot, right? And when they're doing it against a shot timer, they barely do any of that. They're just like trying to get that shot out. They're trying to get that sub-second shot on paper, and they forget the reason why they're doing it the way they're, you know what I mean? So the way that they teach it is because, right, when you go to draw and you put your hand up here, as soon as you get that good marriage and you start to push out, you're starting to line those sights up, right? So I could take a shot from right here, right, if I had to. And then when I'm at full presentation, that could be my follow-on shot if I had to, right? So, you know, I had this talk with one of the guys at the store the other day, and he goes, well, it's faster to do this. It's faster to do this, but if you had the time and you wanted to come up and get that rep in, you could do it like this. I said, but is it really faster? Because if you did it like this, how you train, you can have one shot, second shot follow on. Now you have two shots instead of just whipping it out, maybe not getting a good marriage on that gun, right? And then having to fight through it and fumble maybe to get that second shot or even that first shot. So,
well, what a lot of people don't understand, not hating or comparing has a background versus civilians that don't have a background that are in the same industry, like this gun industry and this training industry. Just objectively looking at it, I've made mistakes that have shown me I had made mistakes in my training. So I know what it feels like to be scared and resort back to something, to a technique or tactic based off of some vague understanding I had, and it didn't work out so well. So I know what happens if you train yourself wrong or you program yourself. Think about it, programming. We're programming a software inside of ourselves, and that's what's going to come out when the shit hits the fan. So part of that, I've done things like try to be fast and like didn't go back to the proper way of doing things. It cost me because whatever tactic or technique I was doing was vague or not practiced enough or loose, and it caused mistakes. It caused things not to be consistent. So the reason that we go the extra mile sometimes in the military goes a little overboard sometimes, and we can open our mind a little bit, but we try to do something that's simple, repeatable, effective. That way it's consistent in a lot of different type of scenarios. So when I come here and bring that directly out as I marry it up here, like we're talking about, and bring it out, that makes me accurate in a lot of different situations instead of rushing and relying on luck. I want to rely on luck. I want to rely on the actual input that I put in, the skill, right, to make it happen consistently. So what they do is they see that and they try to get fast and they try to look like those guys and they skip a lot of those. That's because even the best trained, you have to fight the temptation of going fast and going and wanting to get on the range, just grab bullets. I've been there. We've got to slow it down. Advanced is doing the basics really well, mastering the basics and being able to do them consistently. That being said, in our particular genre, being able to do them under stress. So what they've got is want stuff to be fast. They're not thinking about, well, I do it a little bit, I do it like this sometimes, I do it like that sometimes, and they don't realize that, well, you're giving yourself some programming that may potentially be bad. And I've heard, I can't cite the sources and I can't even say it's factual, but word of mouth from different people talking about these cops or different situations where guys have scars where they, every time, like one guy took a gun away from somebody and they immediately they trained so much doing gun takeaways quickly and returning it to his training partner. Yeah. Right? So it was like a natural part of the drill. So he did it and gave it back to the guy in a real situation. And then also another police officer story about a guy being in a shootout. He's shooting and he's collecting his brass off the ground from behind his car as he's during his during his exchange, right? He's trying to pick up the brass, like, because they trained so much doing the same thing over and over, the monotony of that same training and not paying attention to flipping that switch between I'm in a drill, I'm doing something that applies to my tactics and procedures versus something that's administrative. And they started doing that. Same thing with that scan. You know the scan people do? Yep. I agree that you need to break your focus and you're going to have vision under stress and be looking at this, and you got to have some kind of way of thinking through it in order to break that focus and look at and know what's going on around you. But they do it, they've done it so much, they don't even know why the hell they're doing it. They're just like, it's like, what the hell did you see? Did you see anything? Like, no, I don't know what I saw. I just moved my head quick because that's what I do. Like, we got to know the why behind everything. Yes, that's slower for you to learn instead of just replicating movement, but it creates a critical thinking person, a capable citizen that I think once you know the why and you constantly try to know the why about what you're doing, it's going to give you the common sense to know when there's bullshit involved in tactics, techniques, and procedures you can use. So take that for what it's worth.
All right, let's get into some questions. Mr. Gray said, I was interested in purchasing a Tactical Edge jersey, but not sure how to pick it up. So you can go right on our website. It's tactical-edgearms.com. You can go right in the apparel section. It's right in there. Just, you can purchase it online and we will ship it right to your house. Let's see what else we got.
Check your teammate.
We got a whole bunch.
Mr. Gray said, check your teammate.
Check your teammate. I'm not sure. What are you talking about, Mr. Gray?
I think he's talking about. Well, he's like, screw the brass. Check your teammates, as in, if you're there with if you're there with other people, there, check on them instead of picking up your brass, stuff like that.
Right. People understand, and I tell this, I help coach my son's football team, and it's funny how everything that we teach these little kids, these basic principles and concepts that you teach a team on the lower levels, he's 11, apply to what we do. So we teach them everything that you put in, what you put in on the training, on the practice field, everything you're doing is developing a habit, whether it be good or bad. It could be a bad habit or a good habit. So everything you do, because with kids, a lot of times they'll want to do what you say, but they'll just do it half-ass, right? So you're like, yeah, you're doing what you're trying to go through the drill and be active within the training that we're doing, but you're just doing it half-ass, right? So you're training yourself to do something without much effort.
Correct. Right?
And because within football and within a lot of different training scenarios, grappling like I do, or combatives, like you don't go 100% all the time. You got to adjust your levels of intensity to manage to be able to train for long periods of time, right? So you tell them, hey, I need to adjust the intensity. We're not hitting. So on the football field, I'm not hitting you. We're not running full speed, but I need to be crisp with the way I hand the ball off. I need to have my eyes and work all the things that I can work without running 100%, so that we don't develop bad habits. Same thing with training. Like whatever you're doing, if you do it to the point where you're developing a habit, is it bad or is it good? What you put in is what you're going to get out. Simple as that. What do you think, Kawa?
Well, I completely agree. And so I'm going to add to that as well. So when you do something over and over again, that's how we create motor skill memories and motor skill mechanics. But if you don't know the purpose of why you're doing it, then what happens is that you're risking going into like an automated kind of mindset. Like I know that I got to draw this gun. I know that I got to get a shot on target quickly. But when you do it over and over and over again, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, you can there's a risk of becoming automated. And once you become automated, you lose the ability to think critically, right? So you're no longer a critical thinker. Now you're just an automated robot, whether that's a good habit or a bad habit, and what needs to happen obviously is that I wish, and this is wishful thinking because it's never going to happen. People, actual legitimate instructors, or even the influencers who shoot a lot and actually know a couple things, what we should be doing is being able to teach the why of what we do versus just look at me go fast and look at me succeed in this video, right? And so just give an explanation. What are you working? Yeah, that was a great video, man. All hits, super fast, great. But like at least give your viewers the why of why did you do it that way? It doesn't have to be like a 5-minute video, but just a quick spiel like, hey, this course of fire was set up for this. I'm working on, for example, footwork. I'm working on multi-target transitions. I'm working on next side picture, follow-on actions, settling my sights, trigger prep, and give your viewers an understanding of why you did it. And then maybe add to that why you were going so fast, because all we see right now is a 1-minute video of this super awesome video, super quick and super fast and fluid, but it leaves people to speculate, not so much why he did it, but that is the standard. And, and that is what I need to, replicate. And then when people do that, especially these new shooters, no one's there to explain to them why they're doing it or how to do it properly. And then they just start doing it on their own, and speed is like this cool thing that we want to do all the time. And before you know it, they're super fast, but they don't understand why they're doing it that fast. And they lose that ability to critically think about the situation at hand, whatever that situation may be, whether it's a flat range or some kind of dynamic drill that you're doing where you have to target ID or something. So I no, I completely agree with you. I just don't. I try to, and I try to. I mean, I like doing cool videos too, and I like going fast as well. And I do spend a lot of reps trying to do things well, but at the same time, I have to be careful because sometimes I find myself going through the motions, like, holy shit, I just ran that course of fire in 10 seconds, but then I was like, what did I just work on other than shooting? You know, and it becomes automated, and you're just going through the motions. So,
yeah, exactly. And you always learn. They always say you learn the bad stuff first. So if you are doing that and you are calling yourself an instructor or an influencer or anything like that on social media, and you're doing drills and you don't do the why, right, and you don't explain to those guys, you do a disservice to everybody that might be taking some kind of information from you. It's Will. So, you know, when you are doing that, you should take into consideration the guys that are watching you, because you might have brand new shooters out there. And if you got guys that, if you're just, you know, if you're like, hey, you got to do it like this, and I hate to go back to the draw, but if you're like, hey, we do it like this, and this is the reason why we do that. But then whenever you're shooting against a shot timer, you're going super fast or anything like that. And they're like, yeah, but you just didn't do that. Maybe I should just go fast because this fast video has twice as many likes, twice as many views as the one in which the guy did the drill the correct way. So maybe I'll just do that. And they don't know the why, like you're saying, Kawa. They don't know why you do that. They don't know that, you know, if you get your draw down and you get that good marriage, you have that potential to get 2 shots off before full presentation on a threat. And they're just like, oh, well, I just got to get a shot onto a target before 1 second. And they don't realize that in real life, there's not going to be a shot timer. It's just going to be something, and you're going to have to react to that. And the faster you can react to that without knowing something, the more efficient you're going to be. So, and there's no real way to train for that. There isn't.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. That's a great point. I think a lot of people that come onto Instagram or any social media platform, they see all these people that they follow. They have large followings, and like, you know, with a large following, you become an influencer, whether you want to or not, because companies will reach out to you and they throw products in your face and they're like, yeah, just here it is for free and just give me some content, right? And then they realize, so they also realize that good content gets them followers. So again, this goes back to the movie making, right? The better the movie, the more people watch it. So when you have really good content out there, yeah, you're going to get a lot of followers. And then what comes with that is all the secondary and tertiary effects, which is, one, companies start looking at you for influencer programs, brand ambassador programs, but then you also gain this large following, and you start to kind of lose a sense of why you came on Instagram in the first place. I mean, if that was your whole goal, is to become an influencer, then get on you, man. But if you came onto social media because you actually love the art of shooting and you want to become good at self-defense and just, you know, I don't know, support the Second Amendment, then you kind of lose a sense of that, because now you are, before you know it, you're taking pictures of products and you're doing videos of products, and you have this large following, and people start asking you questions like, hey, what's that gear? Tell us about this gun. What is that drill you're doing? And you start to answer more and more questions. And then what happens is you slowly start to evolve in your own head that, okay, now I think I'm answering questions all the times on whatever content I'm creating. So like people get into this thing where like, you know what, I should just teach. I should just teach, because people are already asking me questions on why I'm doing this drill, and you might be doing that drill. You know, I mean, you might know why you're doing that drill, but you don't know how to explain it, and you don't know how to instruct it. But yet you find yourself becoming an instructor on your social media because you have a big following and you have all these companies that want to give you stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a cool place to be, but at the same time, it's really hurting us as a community.
Especially when you do a whole entire drill and you're moving from cover to cover to cover to cover to cover to cover, and you just burn everything down, right? So you're just doing this drill. There's no positive identification on any target. You just kind of go through it, just burn it down, and you're like, okay, cool. So that was really fast. I just did all that. And you're like, yeah, but do you even understand what you just did? How did you know all these threats were there? How did you know that they were all threats? You know,
it's a controlled environment. It's a stage rehearsal. It's a rehearsed stage of fire. and it's a controlled environment, and you that's all you know. And that's all your followers look at is how well did he just do this. Nobody's asking these guys like, well, what were you actually working on? People are like, holy shit, man, that was really good job. Like, cool, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Will's here.
Will is here. He had to close the retail store. We look all
Had to do it.
jumbled up in here.
Oh man,
I like how
now
it's
my
set up,
box is
though.
gonna get smaller.
Oh,
Yeah.
you look professional AF tonight.
I'm sorry,
Hey,
Kyle.
hey,
Like you said.
questions, man. We got like 40-something questions in there.
Oh, let's see here. I got a couple.
Hey, Sean Thomas. Hey, Sean, he commented he took some of my class and he liked me, so I
Yeah.
appreciate you, man. Thanks for a shout out, buddy.
Hey guys, and don't forget, if you guys are watching this, you guys are in the Clarksville area, Z's got a class coming up this weekend. Or is it next weekend? This weekend. The 13th.
The 13th.
It's October 13th.
I'm gonna
There's
start
a good
with this
question.
first.
It's rifle
It's a
accuracy.
good question for probably Z and I. Z, the question I see right here is, as instructors, how does the same pressure play into shooting in front of your students?
I like the WARFIGHTER.
Catch. I was gonna call that one out. Did you get that?
Well, you obviously suck
What
at
does
your
it mean,
job.
the pressure? I don't understand. What do you think it means, Kawa?
I would take that
I
as
don't-
do you
I
feel
don't
like you
know.
have the same pressure performing for a live video as you do in front of your students?
Mm-hmm.
I do, because I don't do a lot of takes if I shoot videos.
Well, if it's
Or
a live video,
videos.
it's the same thing.
Well, the videos we do with on the videos I do, I don't have time to fuck around and do 100 takes. So I just, you get what I give you. I go cold and that's it, because that's my capability. I practice something 100 times. Any given person, if you practice something 100 times doing that same drill over and over, and you can shoot reasonably, you're gonna do good at it. Bottom line. So I think it's a lot of pressure to shoot in front of students, but I've done it a lot, and I got a way of working through the pressure. Right? It's just like performing on the spot. Like, you just do it. So
Yeah.
do you think, Kawa?
I was going to say the same. I can only get to the range once a week for certain, sometimes twice a week if I'm lucky. But even then, I'm either doing stuff, I'm creating content for the Musa store, and then I kind of lack in creating content for myself. But when I do get to create videos for myself, of course, I want them to look good, because I'm also trying to get a point across in my videos. And what I started doing in my videos that you guys see me post is at the very end of it, I spend like a good 20 seconds just telling you what I'm working on. Whatever that was, I'm just showing you. You won't always see my videos being like just super badass and flawless. I definitely have a lot of mistakes that I make in my videos, and I'm okay with that. Same thing goes into demoing for students on a live range. You're not going to get 100% of your hits every time on a demo, and you're not going to execute flawlessly whatever those body mechanics may be or whatever it calls for that task, for that drill. But when you do make mistakes in front of your students, you tell your students, I tell my students, like, guys, you're going to see me shoot flyers all day. You're going to see me fuck up my movement all day. But as long as you're learning from these mistakes, every time I throw a flyer, I self-assess and ask myself, why did I throw that flyer? Or if I fucked up my footing or my reload, I self-assess and say, hey, why did I do that? So as long as, you take it as a learning point and not just be like, oh, my bad. I think your students are completely okay with that. They respect that, because there's no one out there right now, unlike the videos that you're putting out, where you can perform flawlessly in person in front of a live group all the time.
Oh, dude, all those takes me and Will do, those are first runs, dude.
Yep.
Oh,
No,
I know. I
no,
know that.
no backing up.
We
nothing.
knock about 10 videos out in about 30 minutes because we just do one take.
We literally do 5 drills and only bring 34 rounds to the range.
That's it. That's all we need.
Well, to your point, Kawa, like, one good thing I think a difference is that you'll see if you're a student with an instructor is if they can tell you why they messed up. Most guys that have shot and they got some experience, they've got some, they know how to shoot generally, or know whatever task they're teaching. They can tell you why they messed up when they did. Hey, I didn't see my sights. Hey, I jerked the trigger there. Hey, I tried to go faster with my feet than I could with my eyes and my ability to shoot. Right? We can tell them that, and that's what helps you be an instructor, because we can help you diagnose those things. Right? So everybody's human. We're gonna screw up, right? And pressure gets to everybody as well. So we try to do it on demand. Hopefully we can. but we'll be able to tell you if we do mess up why we did it.
Yeah.
So what do we take from all this, right? What do we take from range theatrics? What do we take from all the sizzle on Instagram and stuff like that? For all you new shooters out there, make sure that you understand the why of the drill. If you see a guy on the range just burning it down, or if you see a guy that's like, hey, listen, this is the correct way to do it, but then he's not doing it under time or anything like that, is that necessarily a red flag for that guy? Or is that something that maybe would make those followers or brand new shooters second guess what that guy had to say in the first place?
Yeah, I think that regardless of what we like to see on social media, it's just not going to happen because the majority of the shooters on social media are not instructors, and even the ones that are doing some instruction doesn't mean that they're actual instructors. Whatever. I mean, if you're teaching classes, good on you. It really has to come down to the viewer. The person that's watching that video and following that person, and whether you've like adamantly followed that person and you love everything they do, or if you just catch their video and you like it, then you need to ask yourself, like, as a viewer, what am I getting out of this video? What should I take away from this video? It's not just going fast. It's not just range theatrics. Like, what did he do well that I like? But then you have to like use some critical thinking and say, what did he do to get to that level, or what should I do? Where am I at realistically? Am I really at a sub-second draw, or do I need to start at a 2-second part time? Because as far as like the people that are putting the content out, that's just not going to stop. It's not going to stop because we are basically in the business of making movies. That's what we're doing, and we're just doing it with guns versus anything else. But like for the viewer, you really have to just, not necessarily vet the video, but vet that person, and then even if you're adamant follower and you love that guy or girl, then ask yourself, like, out of this video, what can I take away versus what I want to do, and where am I at really versus where I think I'm at, and what should I really work on, and then just take that time to work on yourself. And I bet you, if you have a good training program that you have on paper that you go to the range and execute, you'll get there before you know it. But you'll get there in a way that you'll get there with proper form, proper reps, and the speed will come just naturally due to your comfortability of the mechanics and understanding of the concept, really, versus, holy shit, I like what I like what I see here, and I'm going to the range tomorrow, so let me just skip 3,000 reps ahead and go to a sub-second draw, or whatever these quick mechanics are.
So you're saying there's no magical shortcut?
There's only a magical shortcut if you have an ammo sponsor. So
there you go. Or a horseshoe up your ass, maybe.
I got a question. What kind of disservice do social media personalities do when they only show the highlights? And as a follow-on to that, is it better just to lay down the fundamentals rather than look good on Instagram? That comes from
read the first part again.
Matt Metzger.
So the disadvantage, I would say, or the disservice that a influencer would have by only showing his highlights would maybe be for that brand new shooter that may be looking up to this guy, and no matter how hard he tries, he can't get that sub-second draw or that sub-second hit on target. It might discourage that brand new shooter because he's like, man, like, no matter how hard I try or anything like that, it makes that Instagram shooter, that social media shooter, look like he is just, on it all the time and 100% all the time, and he doesn't have any bad days. And everybody has a bad day on the range.
I think that also shows that he doesn't want to take the time to teach. He just wants to be entertainment. That's all he wants to do to his viewers. He just wants to entertain guys, because even like Kawa was saying, when you're in a class with live viewers, you're having flyers, you're having these things because you're sitting there instructing people, and you're a person. People that just show the perfect highlight reels, the super fast, awesome, and have no explanation to it, they're just making videos to entertain the followers. They don't care about the training aspect or teaching their followers anything along the way. They're literally just making videos so the follower on the other end of the video can just nothing, be entertained for a quick 30 seconds, and then move on to the next person. I don't think they necessarily care if the person takes anything from video, as long as they looked good for that 30 seconds, they're fine with it because they got a couple thousand likes on the video.
Yeah, and they're also selling a false perception of themselves, right? They're selling this elevated perception of, look at me, since I control my page, I'm only going to show you the best every time. And so people think like, holy shit, this guy is the best. He is the fastest. He is the most fluid. He is this. He is that. And what happens after that is, that's where you get, if you want to be an influencer, you get a bunch of companies that want to work with you. And if you want to be an instructor, because of that false perception that you sold of yourself through your page, people are now hitting you up like, hey man, we want to come down and train with you, or come down here and teach us, or this and that. And it is what it is. And for those units, and for those organizations, and for those people that are asking for instruction, I guess I would have to say to you that I hope you got your money's worth when he came and taught you that. And he performed flawlessly in front of you, like he did on his page.
One thing I want to add to that, like, for me, I'm kind of torn. I understand that the way society is, right? I mean, obviously, our society generates a lot of economy based off of sensationalizing a lot of different things, right? That's why Big Pharma makes the money. Everybody wants a cure-all for everything, so they can tell you, hey, this will make your penis grow, but it might have these side effects, these 100 side effects.
I don't care about the side effects.
Right? So they know that they can make money. So generally out there's a lot of people, a lot of businesses and organizations that are taking advantage of ignorant sheep type people. So for me, I like a free society. If you want to make something entertaining, and if you think that's the way to go, and you want to be Hollywood and cinematic, and that gets you the followers, that gets you the sponsors, you're free to do that.
Why you gotta point at the headset when you say that?
It's because it's a sponsor, a great sponsor, right? So what I say is that it's your choice to do that. It's your right to do that. What it falls on is you you citizens out there that are not critically thinking. That's what we want. There's always going to be somebody out there, just like we say, hey, do away with the argument about evil. There's always going to be people willing to do bad things, right? There's always going to be that. Don't matter what laws you make, doesn't matter what you do. And there's always going to be people out there that are ignorant and are willing to take things at face value without doing any research on their own, and they're not using their common sense to know that all people are humans. We're all fallible, right? So if you think that a bunch of videotapes looking awesome makes somebody a superhero, then that's on you, man. That's just you're ignorant, right? So we need to see things for what they are, and that's what I truly believe. Like, if you're ignorant, I can't help you, but people's going to put out a bunch of bullshit sometimes, and if you buy it, it's on you.
Yeah. And that's not always just on that, because if you look at it, there's a lot of industries in which those people will only post the best stuff that they do, right? So if you have a shooter like competitive shooters, right? They don't necessarily post any of the bad stuff. They post all the highlights, but they're also not trying to instruct people on what to do, right? So
they are there just for
if you are there specifically for entertainment, and you're there just to show how good you are all the time to get some kind of sponsors or advancement in your career, that's 100% okay, as long as you're not like, hey, listen, this is what you need to do. As long as you're not trying to be that instructor and you're just solely there to just burn it down all the time and that's it, then that's perfectly fine. But once you cross into both of those, I think that's where you draw the line.
Yeah, each mistake you make is just a teachable moment right there. And if you only show the good out of everything, you can just tell right off the rip you're not trying to teach me anything. Mm-hmm. Because, as an instructor, you got to look at who, people, someone just might have bought their first pistol fucking yesterday. You don't know that. And now they're saying, oh, here we go, we're going to do a sub-second draw. And now that person that just lost a pistol is like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Like, I don't know. There's no teachable moments doing a flawless run. And It just shows that the people that claim they're instructors that post perfect videos every single time, they don't care about teaching. They just care about looking good on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Well, there's that, and there's a whole hey, I'm just a shooter. I'm not an instructor. You know what I mean? But
well, that's different. I would say then, you're just posting videos for entertainment to show your capabilities.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
All
just
right,
a
guys.
guy.
How many questions you got for us? We got about 5 minutes. We'll get some questions in here. We'll answer them, and then we will be on our way. What do we got, Chad?
Rich here said he got his RMR. Thanks, guys. Good combo.
Nice.
Oh, for sure.
Heck yeah.
And then Mr. Gray asked about nods. Binos
Yes, 100%.
or singles?
Nope,
Yeah,
get binos, right? So one of the disadvantages of a monocular, right?
Didn't we do a nods freaking
We
video?
did do a
Go
nods
back and look at it.
right?
I think that was episode 6.
So what I learned from Zach, right? Zach came up, one of our buddies. He is designing a set of panos, right? And one of the things that I learned from him the other day at the shop is, I didn't know this either. If you run a PVS 14 and you also run another PVS 14 on those bridges, right? They are not tuned with each other, right? So you will develop a bad headache after a while. It will make one of your eyes
'Cause there
strain
might be
more
a
than the
delay
other
in image or
because they're
something?
not aligned. That's why when they're doing panos and binos, they have to align them. I'm sure you guys have seen that in group, right, where they align all of the tubes together, especially in panos. But if you are running just a single one, this has been my experience running the single one. If I wear it for a couple hours, it literally burns my eye. And what I mean by that is if I go into any other environment, my eye is like black. It's like darker than my other eye that didn't have it on there because my one eye is so concentrated on that. Where with binos, I don't have that issue.
Rob, Red October trip is in a couple weeks, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Haven't gone yet.
The 26th and 27th of the Pro Gun Club in Vegas.
Yep, Doug's got a good comment right there. Doug, the excellence in anything is fun to watch. NFL highlights, Major League Baseball home runs, NASCAR at 220 miles per hour. That's just one real aspect of this industry. Watching T-Rex arms is impressive simply for what it is. I agree.
Yeah, but the guys running NASCAR cars and hitting home runs are not claiming that they're going out teaching people how to run NASCAR cars and hit home runs. Big difference.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
Yes,
Hey,
we have to collimate the tubes. That's exactly right.
What I got just a quick audible question here. What do you guys think of the Tactical Timmy?
Huh?
Tactical Timmy. You heard that name out there on the internet? Tactical Timmys. The guys that dress up. All right. The people make fun of those guys that have all the cool stuff that look cool. I really don't have a problem with it. If you're working on your capabilities and you want to look tactical while you're doing it, I don't give a shit. It's really your approach to training.
Kind of sounds
that
like
I
jealous.
want.
Jealous?
Nah,
Jealous of their setup?
I don't call them Timmys. Yeah, I'm jealous of people that have a lot of cool stuff that I don't have. I am. But I'm saying I don't call people Tactical Timmy. I think I coined the name Skinny Jean Jerry.
Yeah, you did. And you upset the whole community all night. Look at that. You did.
Skinny Jean Jerry is nobody in particular. It's just a new.
As soon as you
cool
say
thing
it.
I'm surprised you
Skinny
didn't
Jean
get the
Jerry
whole horde of.
has a quick draw.
I'm surprised you didn't get a whole horde of memers and private accounts coming after you for that one, Z.
He got a message at 1:30 in the morning.
I don't read it on camera.
At least you get a
But
message.
I didn't mean it towards anybody.
Red now.
I was being generic.
Tyler Davis does a double mini. What is it?
Double mini Bobby boards make him vain. Just asking, no shade. Great point. Thoughts though.
That's the double mini Bobby board.
Dude,
Yeez,
Oh.
your skateboards.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, dude. You want to buy one?
I mean, if you had a photo of that fucking dope, I think I'd want to put it on
There you go.
a skateboard as well.
Marty McFly, I could wear
I mean, technically, any jeans could be skinny. So.
Hey, I wear fitted clothes all the time, man. I mean, look at how tight this T-shirt is.
Yeah. Give it back to your wife.
You need to turn your dryer down a little bit.
Nothing wrong with that. But hey, you know what? If
He's
you don't
actually
wear
wearing
like
one of
super
his
tight
own tonight,
clothes,
not his
then
daughter's.
at least get in shape, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying.
All right, what else you guys got for us?
Buddy?
learn how to fight. That's a public announcement. PSA, public service announcement.
Learn how to fucking kill
Public
people.
service
That should be
announcement.
your fucking. That should be your
Slogan?
not slogan, but that should be your PSA for every episode.
Learn how to fight.
Learn how to fight, motherfuckers.
A couple people mentioned gear. Practice goes into the practice and buy the new piece of gear to make themselves better, thinking that equipment is going to make themselves better. That's
Whatever skinny jeans Jerry's got, you buy that, you will be really good at shooting. That's bottom line.
Yeah.
Take it to the bank.
Take it to the bank.
I will say though,
Get an entourage. That helps you shoot better too.
going with the gear thing, a good carpenter never blames his tools for his mistakes. Meaning, you don't need good shit to be good. Deal.
Also, if it gives you some false motivation to get your drive to improve a little bit more, false motivation is better than no motivation.
True, because if I just spent a couple grand on some shit, I would definitely get my use
I
out of it.
better get at least a 0.5.
If you don't have any bullets in your garage for the training range and you go out and buy that piece of shit equipment, you're wrong. Take it to the bank. That's my new saying. Take it to the bank.
Marty McFly said, Bobby, it was too bad you didn't get to finish the show on tactical rifle last.
Hey, that's all right. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. It was all Chad's fault. Don't worry about it. We figured it out. He's just got to come to our shop where we got the good Wi-Fi. That's it.
Yeah.
That good.
So
What we need is to not have issues with the technology every damn time we have the show. We always have something working us out.
Hey, was Tommy Two Dicks there?
Tommy Two Dicks was in the chat.
that's
a long story, man.
Long story.
Two long stories.
Yeah. You see,
Carl needs new internet.
Compensation.
For the families out there, take it to the bank.
Learn how to fight.
all right, guys. We're gonna get out of here.
I will say on gear.
If you guys don't-
I will say on gear really quick. If you're gonna, I don't care what kind of gear you guys buy, because I mean this is America. You can do whatever you want. But I will say that, like Will said, you don't need gear to get better at something. But if you are gonna buy gear, then obviously do some homework and get some good gear out there. And I think now more than ever, there are so many resources out there that you can research to help you find good gear, stuff that works. I mean, that's the whole concept of my company. You know, the store is just curated stuff that works. But more than like when you buy stuff, you got to spend time training with it. You know, I mean, just spend time training with it. You know what I mean? Like, really find out how it slows you down or speeds you up, or how it fucks you up on the range, or how it's wearing and tearing on your body, you know, depending on what it is, and spend the time training on it. That way you don't have to rely on other people to always tell you what's good, and you know, you're dropping all this money on stuff that you have no idea about. You know, like if a slick plate carrier is not good for you because, I don't know, for example, you just run hot all the time and it's not breathing, then you know you might have to get something that has a little bit of a play.
Pepperoni nipples and it rubs them.
You know what I mean? And like a belt, you know, like I just did a couple videos on belts, like a padded belt versus a double belt. You know, like a padded belt, understand the pros and cons of a double belt versus a padded belt. A padded belt's comfortable, and we love comfortable, but it doesn't stay. It shifts on you up and down, rotates on you, whereas a double belt, it's not as comfortable, but it stays fucking in place. You know, so you know, if you train with the stuff, then you understand what works for you and what doesn't. So like,
Do you think they should come to maybe check out the Musa store where the equipment is curated? And somebody's tried it out and gives them good information on it, you think?
What was that? What was the first part of your question?
I said that, so you think maybe we should check out maybe the Musa store where the equipment is curated, and if somebody's tried it out with experience?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
I mean, that is the concept, is give it to a bunch of people, professionals, to try it out. And I go with the general
Good idea.
consensus.
Shameless plug.
Mr. Gray, how important is weapon retention? Is very important. You should always be able to have that weapon
Let me tell you something.
to you.
I think we covered that, last episode?
Learn how to fight. Take it to the bank. Listen, if you got a gun and there's two people involved, that gun's any of those two people.
That's correct.
If I can take that gun from you, which I will,
Because what?
then that's my gun.
You
Make
choose
sure-
not to feel the pain?
So, are you telling them?
Take it to the bank.
Are you telling them to lanyard their gun to their appendix holster?
yes.
No, I'll say get some
Or
training to
that.
where I am the lanyard. I am the lanyard. Which retains that gun.
Who just asked that question? The retention?
Mr. Gray.
I think we covered that in last.
We just did slings. We just did slings.
No, we did holster retention, all that stuff. We went over the different levels of holster retention and all that stuff. I think it was episodes 5 or 6.
Well, don't rely on the level of the holster to retain your gun so much as the level of your training and capabilities.
Correct.
Take it to the bank.
Take the bank.
What kind of bona fides should people look for in an instructor, online or not?
Bona fides.
We also had that was episode
Just
like
a big
5.
bone.
We covered all
Yeah,
that
these might be new guys. So what you should look for in an instructor, someone that maybe has a background in either military, law enforcement, something like that. Someone that's been vetted by other people, that has a lot of good feedback, stuff like that. Someone that doesn't work in absolutes.
Someone does work in absolutes, and someone that seems to be transparent and genuine as they talk to you.
Yep.
I mean, the best way to vet other people, especially these days on social media, because everyone's on social media, is maybe ask other instructors. And you don't have to sit here and be like, hey, is this guy a shitbag, or should I go to his class? But you can say, hey, do you know this guy? Do you know anything about him? And this and that. And of course, there is some haters out there that will try to. There are some instructors out there that they think their shit don't stink, and they're the only guy you should come to. But like people like Z and I, you can ask my students. I tell them at the end of the day, or at the end of the drill, the course, I tell them like, hey, these are the other instructors you guys should go to. You know what I mean? Like, these are the ones I know about, and that you guys should probably attend their classes. So just ask, man. Just ask other people. There's a bunch of people that you can ask. Our community is only so big.
Number 1 red flag: if their Instagram handle has instructor in it, probably not one.
Instructor Z.
Yes. Poser. Take it.
I'm just trying to suck in some of those Instructor Zero searchers out there.
Mr. Gray, only saying that because I fly armed 8 times a year. Best place for holster. I'm assuming on your body. That's what you meant?
Not if you're flying. Shit.
Yeah, not if you're flying. Not unless you're an air marshal.
You could be an air marshal.
If you're an
You
air
can do a
marshal.
prison wallet
In your
setup, then that
keister.
can get you away with a lot of stuff. But
Nice little Ritter
The keister
LCP up. What are they? You keister it or something like that? What are they
The
called?
keister.
prison wallet.
Prison wallet.
Prison wallet, keister money.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys next week. I hope you guys have a good night and a good rest of your week. If you guys are looking for any cool gear, go to Moose's store. We got the stuff from Walkers and Breakthrough Clean, Magpul, all that stuff. Guys, these guys are helping us out with Red October, so we thought we'd give them some love on the show. Next week, we might give away some stuff, so make sure you tune in. We're going to try to get Carl on here from Tactical Rifleman, and I think next week's topic is going to be what you should do to get ready to go through selection for Special
I have
Forces.
0 on that.
Chad, I'm not sure Carl will be good on here because he just said he doesn't like to talk much. So
Yeah, he doesn't like to talk.
Going off
We'll
of that,
make him talk. We'll make him
I know
talk.
Bobby just mentioned this. Guys, Walker, Breakthrough Clean, they helped us out tremendously for Red October. We can't thank them enough. Definitely go give these dudes some loves on their IGs. If you guys have Instagram, go find them, go follow them, go buy their products, support
it's
them.
not Gucci gear. You got to clean your gun.
Excellent
and you got to have
products.
hearing protection, right?
Yeah, we all use them
Gotta have
here. Also, follow, subscribe, like, share, tag,
Yeah, guys, check it out. So
DM, everything in between. Do it.
Let's talk about that real quick. Hey, all you guys down here, do us a huge favor and share this video. We are like 200 hours away from being able to do all kinds of different options with this YouTube channel. We have to have a minimum of 4,000 hours. We're like 200 hours shy. So if you can share that, let's get this going. It allows us to do a lot more things, a lot more giveaways, stuff like that. So make sure you share this episode.
The more people we get on here, the cooler stuff we can do with cooler people than Z.
If you see beards on this video, you know it's legit.
What do you
so.
get it for? What do you get at 4,000 hours? I'm curious.
You get
Super top sugar, we can't tell you.
Yep.
Like your own little
If
team.
you don't
of,
know
like, super hot
already, we
chicks?
can't tell you.
One last thing
Cool.
before we leave.
What is it?
B, do you have any classes come up that you need filled?
October 13th.
October 13th through the Tactical Edge website. Rifle Accuracy, you go to instructorz.com for further our classes further down the road. And let me know if you want some hand-to-hand skills because you need to learn how to fight.
I'm gonna get a little red flag whenever you say Instructor Z. I'm just gonna do that.
How about you, Kawa? What you got coming up?
Red flag.
So I have, let's see, for the public, I have a CQB class here in El Centro, California, 7th and 8th. That's we're gonna do 2 to 4 man CQB for 2 days. It is airsoft, but it's gonna be fucking awesome. That way I get to introduce some force on force to you guys and the boogeyman. I'm working with a couple companies on that, and then I got a 2-day CCW class or CCT class in Vegas, the next weekend actually, December 14th and 15th. And if you come to that one, we're actually gonna camp
That is
out
not next week.
on that Saturday night.
CQB.
So you can find those classes on 2alphatraininggroup.com or just DM me on Instagram.
Hey Marty, we appreciate it. Thanks for sharing that video. All right, guys, we'll see you guys next.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Right.
Dude, we need to do. Are we done, Chad?
Sounds like wrestling.
Chad.